All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Thanks for all the comments already flowing in on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook. So appreciate that. Again, when you have an option to on Twitch, we're on there live. So all of our live videos on news and weather is on Twitch if you know anybody that uses that. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. And wave meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the blog today. We're running a little bit behind. So my apologies. But it's a quiet day today, and there's not a whole lot of shocking stuff I'm going to be revealing to you guys today because it is a quiet weather pattern. A couple of things we need to monitor in the longer term, and then an update on the longer term because everyone always asks about that, right? The longer term setup. When's it going to snow? When's there going to be a blizzard? When's it going to sleet? Actually, no one ever says that. Sleet is probably the most disliked weather phenomenon. Even beats freezing rain, I think. I really do. I don't know if you agree, but that's observation I get from you guys because sleet is such a snow eater. Oh, it breaks the hearts of snow lovers, that's for sure. All right, but enough of that. We do have some beautiful weather. It did get chilly this morning. We're going to go over some of those numbers as well as we finally have a change in our weather pattern for the first time since before even Helene arrived, and we had that low pressure that moved into the area of the front, and that kicked up the tornado that hit Clarksville. That really all started on that Tuesday before the weekend. So it's been a long process here to get out of this this funk, if you will, of this weather pattern to where we get back into a calmer setup. So we do have that in our favor, and that's good news too for those that are still dealing with that cleanup process and recovery still ongoing into areas of the Carolinas. All right, let's start with the one thing, and I want to make sure you guys are fully aware of. You know this already, right? Oh, yes. I forgot to mention yesterday. I don't know how I forgot, but with the kickoff to October yesterday, don't forget Halloween night, the winter forecast will come out on the Wave weather blog. Still working on it. There are a lot of factors in this one, but I will give you a hint. Again, I give you a hint every once in a while. Maybe I'll make it a point to give you a hint about once a week. I may do that. We'll see. But the hint today that I'll give you is that the blocking pattern that we've had as of late, where weather patterns get stuck and in some cases in extreme conditions, whether it's dry, warm, wet, whatever the case is, I do think that is going to continue for at least the start of winter. So there's your heads up on that, and I'll leave it at that for now. I did get a question yesterday. I think it was Mike. Thank you, Mike, for the email, by the way, asking me about the Freiermeyer winter forecast. Love the Freiermeyer family. It should be any day now that we get that. And as soon as I get it, I'll make sure to put it online. So we'll go over through that as well. While you guys love that tradition. All right, let's get you outside live. This is a live look at Huber's Orchard and Winery. We've got the pumpkins all out there. It's going to be busy this weekend. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot of people out because we had such a crummy weekend last weekend with beautiful sunshine in the 80s, almost too warm. In some cases, you're going to be wearing shorts. Not everyone wants to wear shorts when they pick out a pumpkin. They want to wear the the jeans and the hoodies, right? You want to wear the fall attire and take your fall photos. I totally understand all that. This weekend will feel more like summer than fall. So dress accordingly for that. Maybe the following weekend, we'll get back into some cooler weather along with sunshine. All right, right now we got 61 degrees after dropping to 53 in Louisville this morning, 47 still into Bedford. We had a lot of 40s on the map, but that front came through, a little burst of showers, some gusty winds, and now we're on the other side of it. Adair County is the only place right now, if you're down in Columbia, really just south of Greensburg and Campbellsville, you're stuck in this stratus bank of clouds, and this is going to take some time to erode away. So there is a chance in Columbia, especially, you guys may not see a whole lot of warming at all today. The front has left behind moisture being trapped in area Kentucky, so you may have to deal with stratus for a while. The rest of us, though, nothing but blue sky to enjoy. The air has been reduced significantly in moisture level, so there's no worry on that for a while. As the front finally takes the leftovers of Helene and moves it off the eastern seaboard, the rest of the country is actually really, really quiet. There's not a whole lot happening, which is good. We need a break, right? It's been just so active here, especially in the southeast corner of the West. The big story out here, and it's not something you see on a radar, has been just the relentless heat. Imagine if we still had heat waves happening here this late, it would be very annoying, like it was in 2019. Well, they're dealing with that out west, still hitting 110 at times, the excessive heat warnings. Summer is just not wanting to let go of the West, and it's going to take some time for that to break down. All right, again, because we're in just blocking patterns. These weather patterns just don't shift very much at all from week to week. Very subtle changes actually take place. When you look at the entire country, too, when it comes to rainfall, most of the country is dry. We are the exception now for the Ohio Valley. Obviously, the Carolinas down to Florida. The drought monitor, that will be updated tomorrow at about this time. So I'll have it for you guys here on the blog. All right, let's get through the next few hours. This afternoon, beautiful upper 60s, lower 70s for highs. Can't beat it. Tonight, another cool night. Not as cool as this morning, but we'll take it. Valley fog, river fog, you bet. That will be an issue along the Ohio River, River Road, 71, even around Taylorsville Lake. You're going to get some fog, so be careful early in the morning tomorrow, and watch out for the deer mixed into all that mess as well. You get into the afternoon hours, a few clouds, but a little warmer tomorrow, a little closer to 80. It looks especially for Louisville. But we get into Friday, and that's when front number 1 will begin to arrive. Here it is now, Friday morning, way up here into Chicago. And what it's trying to do is what we call a return flow. It's trying to pull in moisture ahead of it and scoop it up. Problem is there's not a lot. It's not a great return flow as far as angle coming in from the Gulf. So there's some increase in moisture, mainly for the mountains, that shower activity, because the mountains are helped to lift the air. So they'll have more of a showery setup for eastern Kentucky and the Smokies and to northwest areas in North Carolina. But nothing overly heavy, which is good, but still any rain is just not what they want to see and deal with. As far as our area, I don't see it right now getting past Adair County into the Parkways zone. We're going to monitor that. I think right now the dry air is going to likely win. But if there's any change, it would be in that area of wave country. We would have maybe some small, minor changes of a small rain chance that may get added, but most areas, I won't worry about that. So this front number 1 is fairly tame. It's not going to do a whole lot of change to our temperatures at all. So we'll be in the 80s on Friday, and even after the front passes by, I still think we're going to hit 80 or higher in the area. So it's going to be a little tough to break that. So what about front number 2? Well, that is scheduled to arrive Sunday night. So both ends of the weekend feature a front. The second front does have much more of a kick to it. You see that pocket of cool air behind it. So there is a significant temperature difference compared to the first front with the second one. The issue, again, is moisture. How much moisture will this have? This time you got to look north versus south because the front itself, the system will try to keep most of the moisture close to the center of the spin of the low itself, moving through the Great Lakes. Whether or not that can connect all the way down into Kentucky on the rain side, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. Can't roll it out. It may only get to about Cincinnati and stop there, and it doesn't build anymore, and the front comes to completely dry, which is the most likely scenario right now in this kind of ordeal. But if there's any change in the forecast for Sunday, it would be to add in 1 or 2 hours. That's all I'm saying. 1 or 2 hours of a small rain chance Sunday. Not an all-day thing. It's just literally a little bit of a swipe, similar to the front last night, just a little small uptick and a shower chance, and then it's over with. But it will allow for cooler weather. The tropics, still monitoring that. It's still messy on the modeling on this. It looks like multiple waves. There's a couple of hints of a tropical storm that could get named out of this mess that will try to move into Florida, the Bahamas. There's some data that doesn't get it even to that level of being organized, just stays constant. Many low pressures moving into the area for showers and storms and a lot of heavy rain. And there may be a growing flood issue for Florida. We'll see if this doesn't change. It is going to stay so stormy in Florida for a good solid 7 to 10 days. That will start to lead to problems if it's heavy rain every day. So there still could be some issues with this. Don't get me wrong. Especially if you have vacation plans to get you to Florida, this will be starting toward the end of the weekend into next week. It gets just quite rainy and stormy. Not the best for a Disney vacation in the next week or so, the way it's looking there for Florida. But at least for the Carolinas, there's no sign right now of anything shooting north. All right. This front on Sunday should be strong enough to keep it locked in down there across the south. We will cool down after it moves on by. How cool we get, the model's still a little bit uncertain on how much it's going to dig to allow for a cool wave. The data is kind of back and forth. There is a chance we could get to a couple of days of 60s, and that's it for highs and lows in the 40s. And then we get into another dumbbell effect of low pressures, but not really involving the tropics this time. It's two low pressures into New England and Nova Scotia that are going to be dancing around here into Western Canada, or Eastern Canada, into New England. And this dumbbell effect is going to be interesting because it could still impact our weather, where it forces the flow of a backdoor front basically to settle into the area at the end of the extended. We'll see if that happens or not, but there's a chance we could get cooler weather. It could sink in from the northeast. Meanwhile, the heat just surges all the way into central Canada, and that'll be their big story. I'm not sure yet how much of that warmth or heat is going to be able to get back east again. Right now, the pattern, once we get into this blocking setup and these dumbbell lows moving around each other, it's just everything, again, remains fairly stagnant. So the odds are they're going to stay with some cool shots that air stuff would come into play, but not much in the way of rainfall, which worries me because we need at least 3 inches to stay out of the drought status in October. And this outlook, I mean, this is already through mid-October. I don't know if we're going to get measurable rain even through then. So there is a chance we could go right back into a drought status. Fully expect there's going to be a dramatic improvement and removal tomorrow, but in the extended, it could come back. What a weird year it has been. I don't really recall such a back and forth of very wet flooding issues, then drought, then flooding issues, then drought. We've been back and forth since the spring on this ordeal, and it hasn't really settled in, which is a little unusual, but we'll see if that bounce back to a drought happens or not in the longer term. Speaking of that, did look at this is what we call a teleconnection. This is the EPO. If you guys are big weather watchers and model watchers, this is really involving the jet stream that's over the Pacific Ocean. One of the reasons why the Central Plains are so warm into central Canada is because the flow coming in from the Pacific is fairly strong right now. A lot of heat being built in, blowtorching, if you will, in the wintertime. We say that a lot. The EPO has got to get more negative to allow for that to break down. And I think that has to break down before we start talking about the idea of a early frost scenario or early cold shot of air before Halloween even gets here. That is going to be a big factor. We've got to get the Pacific jet to relax a bit. It's not the only one. There's others involved in that storyline, but if we can get the jet to relax a bit, then I think we start talking about the flip side of things and cool shots of air. So at least the Euro does want to do that. It wants to get to the negative category on the graph. So we'll see. That would happen about the mid part of October. So got plenty of time. It's going to happen very, very slow, if anything. All right, let's get into the 10-day real fast, and then I'll get to some of your questions you guys got. Let's see. Good morning, Graham. Where are you going to? You're going to start camping on Friday at Otter Creek. How fun is that? At least you don't have the worries of a huge fire danger now that we've had that rain. So that would be a big bummer, right? To go camping and can't enjoy a campfire. Leaving from Myrtle Beach. Actually, next week, I don't think it's going to be a washout. No, I think most of the action is going to be south of the Carolinas. You may get a few coastal storms at times, especially the sea breeze in the afternoon with a boundary close to you, but a washout, I wouldn't go there on that. So I think you'll be all right. Have fun there in Horry County. Let's see. Any other questions? Hey, Carrie, you felt that blast of wind last night? Yep. It was nice and refreshing, wasn't it, when it moved in? I loved it when a front does that and the blast of wind comes in with the front. It just really gets you piped up and ready to go for a change of fall weather, right? When you have that kind of vibe. So that front last night did that. So glad to see it. All right. Let's see. Joe, how you doing, Joe? Record high for today is 96 degrees. Yeah, 2019 was awful for the first week of October. Just miserable. But it did snow on Halloween that year. Things always seem to balance out. All right, you see the 10-day there, guys. We're going to warm up into the 80s this weekend. There's the reset early next week with that second front that moves in. But you can tell by looking at the 10-day, it is very, very quiet. All right, I'm going to run for now. Appreciate you guys as always. I'm going to, and Shonda, I just saw your comment. Sorry. No, yeah, not much rain that I see for Sunday. Even if it did rain, it wouldn't be much at all and very, very brief. But tomorrow, there's a couple of things that I'm going to discuss for the rest of the week here as some winter changes coming our way for some of the alerts. I'll explain what that's all about coming up in the coming days here this week. So some topics to look forward to as we got some quiet time here. I have a chance to cover some of that, and I will do that into the coming days. All right, guys, behave yourselves. See you on the flip side.